Hello, my name is Tennille Creations, and I'm a therapist. And I'm doing a review on the NBC show, The Slap. And I have a guest star today. My husband, Eric, is going to be reviewing the show with me. So this is part 2 of it. And so the last thing we spoke about was the scene with the basketball, where Zachary Quinto's character, Harry, was basically talking about how how his son needs to take the shot. And, we had some discussion about that. So we're going to go on to the next scene. So in the next scene, you see Hector making dinner for his family. And I was really happy to see this because in the first episode, it just seems like his wife does everything. But here you're seeing he is getting involved. He is helping with the children. And he's making dinner. And his wife comes in and she tells him that Connie is going to be leaving the clinic. And of course, this, I'm sure that Hector has some thoughts on this, that the girl that he has a crush on is going to be, kind of giving some distance. And he's just like very casual about it. And he says, I wouldn't read too much into it. She's 18 years old, and then they hug and she says that Connie's still going to babysit. So, so it's just like, okay, this little dalliance thing, it's over, but it's not over.
Dalliance thing? What are you talking about?
Well, the flirting.
Well, yeah, and what's really crazy is that she voluntarily quits the clinic when that's not going to be a solution to the flirtatious problem.
Right.
I think it's really the babysitting, because it's not like the husband works at the clinic, He did come by in the first episode, but I gather that's sort of a rare occurrence. Like, if he needed Valium, they would have had it in the house. There's no reason for him to go to the clinic unless he was actually trying to see the secretary, the assistant. Maybe he didn't actually need Valium. Maybe he just went there to see her.
I think he really wanted the Valium.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. So I'll go into the next scene. So the next scene, and this is, kind of one of the pivotal moments in the episode, is where Harry and Hector, they drive to Rosie's place, and they meet outside. And Hector, is kind of trying to pump Harry up, and he's like, this is not selling, as he wants to know, like, really, like, try to give a sense that, you're humble, like, you're really going to apologize to these people, and, let's make this, like, a pleasant, circumstance. And so, Harry's just like, yeah, I get it. And they go inside, and, like, when you see him, so Harry sits at a table, and right across is Rosie. And Hugo is already breastfeeding, like, on her breast. And, she's like, she's already hostile. Like, she's already, like, just, like, really aggressive and, upset about this whole thing. And she mentions, like, she's only doing this for Hector. And she said, like, I don't want to see you. But Harry still, I think that he reacts really well, and he's still respectful. And so he starts to, say that, say his apology. And Rosie keeps intercepting, like saying, like, Hugo, like, don't forget, like, this is about my son, too.
Interrupting.
Yeah, interrupting. And Hugo like, moves his mouth from his mother's breast, and he's like, that's the bad man. He's going to jail. I mean, this kid is so messed up. Then Harry says people shouldn't let their emotions get out of control. And he starts to explain about how, what was going on with the situation. And Gary, interrupts and says, no, you don't need to talk to him about that. we already explained that to him. And Rosie says, that's not your place. Like she's just like really trying to say like, that's not your place. Like, stay in your place. And then he goes on to say that he shouldn't have hit a child. And then Rosie says, no one should hit a child. Like she wants him to change his complete values on child discipline, for this, to I guess to make her feel better about the situation. And, they're antagonizing him like the entire time he's trying to make an apology. And he says, I deeply regret it. And she asks, like, I didn't hear the two words that I was waiting for. See, I'm sorry. Like, you didn't say that.
I thought he paused to take a breath and was going to say, I'm sorry. It's obvious from the phrasing of his sentence that was the very next thing to come out of his mouth. For her to
That's possible.
I felt like she jumped in and interrupted his sorry with say you're sorry.
Right. I know. Let him talk, man. And then he says it. He says, I'm sorry. He says it twice. And then he talks about how whatever cost, they have incurred, like, he will pay for that. And then she gets like really upset. And she's like, the cost can't be calculated. The emotional costs. This is how people get scarred for life. And then Harry leans back and he gives like this mocking laugh. And he's like, scarred for life? And then he says, this is a shakedown. This is a shakedown. You want me to pay for the shrink that, your son should have had this whole time, and Rosie denies that it's anything about money. And she just starts antagonizing him more and more. And
whoa. Slow down. You're like going on. And I think we need to break down the scene at some point.
I thought I was breaking down the scene.
No, I meant break down our scene in regards to our opinions, not just what happens.
No, I'm going to continue. I'm going to actually give us time to talk about our opinions, definitely.
Okay, I thought we were going to talk about our opinions as we were talking about the scenes, because you're kind of... The scene is shifting gears.
The scene's not over, though.
I know, but I'd rather get to our opinions before we get to the end of the scene.
Go ahead and say whatever you want to say.
Well, I'm just saying, I want to rewind everything and get back to, like, when he walks in, she's glaring at him, okay? And it's sort of like, apparently it seems like they haven't been prepped very much to the idea of him giving an apology. Like, they don't seem very accepting of his apology to begin with.
Hector said that he had spoken to them, that they knew that he was, that Harry was going to apologize. But you don't see the scene of Hector prepping them for anything. So you don't know what was said or what happened to that. But they seem very closed off. I agree with that.
Okay, and the whole fact that apparently the child was like so, he seemed like totally prepped in assuming that he's going to go to jail over this. And second of all, the whole idea of him being traumatized over this, I kind of disagree with, because it's one thing to have a stranger hit you, because you kind of, that's not very shocking, because it's like, they're strangers. You don't know what strangers are capable of. They can be, they can be harsh. But how do I put this? It's traumatizing when a family member hits you like that. That's what's traumatizing. And for her to throw in the words, "Oh, this is how children are traumatized," that's not necessarily true. I mean, I was beat up and mugged growing up, and I didn't find that traumatizing. What was traumatizing were were things that family members did to me. And I don't think this child really considered him family, you know? I mean, it just seemed like with the relationship they had at the birthday party and all that.
Okay, well, I disagree with you on that. I think that
so
trauma comes in several different ways, and it really all depends on the person and how they react. If someone slapped you, it may not affect you at all. You may not be traumatized by it. But if that same person slaps someone else and they've never endured any type of physical, abuse before, that might traumatize them, because it's their first time ever, feeling something like that. So I think it really depends. I think it depends a lot.
I don't know. And the other thing is when he says, "Oh, this is a shakedown," what does he mean by that? What kind of shakedown? What does that mean?
I think that his feelings on that was that they were trying to trap him into paying for a psychiatrist, or paying all of these fees.
Okay.
He thought oh, this is just a way for you to try to get me to pay for, for all the needs that your child, has. This isn't about the slap. This is you just trying to get someone to pay for things because you see that I'm a wealthy guy and you want to take advantage of me. Right. He saw this as a trap. This is a trap. I'm here trying to apologize to you, but you're really just trying to get money out of me. But I mean, it's kind of weird that he came to that conclusion because she didn't say anything about money. And I don't think that she was trying to get any money out. I think the thing is that's kind of, I think because he just kind of sees people in that kind of way. You're either trying to get something from me, I don't know. Maybe that's just his perspective of the world. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, okay, so he says this is a shakedown, and she says it's not about money. And how did she know to assume that he was thinking it was about money? I don't know. Does the phrase "this is a shakedown" automatically mean you're trying to get money from me?
Well, before he said that it was a shakedown, he mentioned that he would pay for any of the costs, and she was saying, that this is not about, she's like, costs. What about the emotional costs? That people could get scarred for life. And then he said, this is a shakedown. This is a shakedown. So I think his perspective on what emotional costs would be paying for a psychiatrist.
Right. Okay.
So maybe that's what he's seeing this whole thing as.
So here's the thing, though. Taking it to court does not repay emotional costs. And I don't think sending him to prison does it either. I think all that is just a bunch of bull crap. I think
it doesn't really change the
situation.
only
way to pay emotional costs would be to have him pay for a therapist. I think that makes the most sense in this situation.
I mean, really, if you truly think that your son is traumatized, then maybe you should accept, getting a cover of for therapy sessions. Maybe you could say, okay, well, let's go with 10 sessions or something. You pay for 10 sessions and, and I won't press charges, and let's put it in writing. And I mean, they could have been, open to that. If they really wanted to get some resolution to this situation, it doesn't seem like they want to get any resolution at all. They're just angry and, and they just want to make him pay. They just want to get vengeance for this. It doesn't even seem like they even care about getting therapy for their child. Or maybe they don't believe in therapy. I don't know.
And then it'll be a therapist who all they do is play checkers with the kid all day.
I don't know. I think that play therapy is very effective, though. So, it could be something that you could do. So
yeah, you know that was total BS. Just like this trial, just like these crazy hippie parents. Okay.
Okay, well, can we go on to the rest of the scene?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No, let's move.
Okay, so then she starts to antagonize him. I mean, this whole scene, like, it just gets charged.
Antagonize? What do you mean?
She asks him if he hits his son. Do you hit your son?
Do you hit your son? Do you hit your
son? And then do you hit your wife?
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? What? Just because he slapped your child that one time, suddenly he's an abusive father and husband? And then she just, they're all arguing. Everyone's talking. And then she says, I hope she wakes up. She's talking about his wife. I hope she wakes up and she sees what a sexist, disgusting, and, before she can say more, Harry jumps up and he kicks the chair that he was sitting in behind him and he walks off out of their house. And she just like freaks out and she's like, call the cops, or I will.
But while the chair is flying through the air, she says, monster you are.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed
and
that
it's hard
part.
to catch because of the crashing of the chair.
Yeah.
But then he storms out.
Yeah.
And she's yelling, call the cops, the cops.
And she's holding her son to her chest, like he's gonna get hurt or something, but like he's not in danger. She's not in danger.
So crazy.
And then she says she's telling her husband to call the cops, or she's gonna call them. And then she screams, "You can wait for the cops outside, you animal." Like, she's like totally enraged, and I'm like, really? Do you think he's really going to wait outside until the police come? I mean, why not just leave? What's the point of staying?
I don't know.
I don't get that. But, I mean, the whole thing to me is just, I mean, she was just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. What did you think of that?
I thought it was really crazy.
Was there a need to call the cops?
No, not at all. That whole thing is just her being overly defensive, insane, crazy hippie. I guess they're out there. And
what I love the scene that follows, and that's where Harry is outside with Hector. And Harry calls them sick people. And he said this whole thing is a trap, that he walked into an ambush. He says to Hector, how did I let you talk into me? How did I let you talk me into this? This is why you're stuck at a deputy assistant job. Because you think things can get resolved by talking. And I just love that line. He goes, nothing gets resolved by talking.
Yeah. You think things get resolved by talking? Nothing gets resolved by talking.
Just love it.
1,000 years of war and evolution. And people keep on warring. You know why? Because nothing gets resolved by talking.
I love that line. And Hector, he tries to calm him down, but I mean, Harry's in a rage. Like, nothing he says is going to do anything, and then they go into their separate cars. And Harry drives off. He, just like drives off. Yep, as quickly as he can. And Hector's in his car. And before he drives down, he sees a text. And the text is from Connie, and it says, I miss you.
Connie.
Connie's the babysitter, the 18-year-old.
And wait, texted who?
Connie texted texted Hector saying that she misses him.
Hector. Which one's Hector?
Hector was the main character in the first episode.
Oh, I thought that was Henry.
No. His name's Hector.
Well, who's Henry?
There's no one named Henry.
Well, what's the guy?
Zachary Quinto's character is named Harry. Harry, yeah. Isn't that weird?
He seems like a Hector.
I think they have some weird names for these characters, honestly. I felt like it could have been more creative, really. I don't really see him as a Harry, and I don't really see Hector as a Hector. Like, he's not Hispanic.
Harry seems like a Hector, and Hector seems like a Norman.
Norman, or I don't know, Dylan, or I don't know.
No,
Tom,
Dylan's a cooler name than he
Tom
deserves.
Or Brian, or
maybe a Tom,
maybe a Jeffrey.
No,
I don't know.
That's too aristocratic.
Aristocratic.
Joffrey.
Okay. Joffrey, right, from King of Thrones. Okay, anyway.
Game of Thrones.
So, is there anything else that you wanted to say on that scene?
I don't know. Is there more to the show?
Yeah, there's more to the show.
Let's keep going.
I'll go on. Okay.
You know, of course, he's not going to wait around for the cops.
Yeah.
I can't believe she actually called the cops.
I know.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like, all he did was jump up, kick a chair, and then he left.
Yeah, well, he also pushed it back with his arm, and so it did, zoom across the room and crash. But it was an old rickety chair, as the lawyer said. He's like, it was an old rickety chair. It was going to fall apart anyway.
It was going to fall apart.
Yeah.
I don't even know why he sat in a rickety chair.
Because they're poor hippies. It's what they have. Did you notice that table was surrounded by 6 old rickety chairs?
Amp up the drama as well, make it seem like something horrible happened.
They live in a painter's studio.
But I mean, I hope that the viewers are more thoughtful and seeing that this woman's just ridiculous. Okay, so
ridiculous.
Yeah. So and the next scene.
Yeah, what's the next scene? I don't remember.
The next scene is where you see Harry's son, Rocco. And he's with his basketball team. And, the whole team's there. And the coach is there. And the coach says, when you play together... And, it's kind of like their little cheer thing. And they move their hands together and they go, you win together.
Yeah.
So they're really trying to say, like, this is all about teamwork. Teamwork. Yeah. So Rocco goes to one of the kids. I believe his name was Bryce.
Doesn't matter.
And he says, why don't you ever pass to me? Like, I pass to you, and it would be great if you could pass to me. Like, he's actually saying it in a really nice way, really respectful. Like, hey, let's not make this a I give to you all the time. You should give to me sometime. And then the kid says to him, we're 6-0. I don't want to risk that.
Risk that.
I mean,
well,
clearly
you have a lucky pair of shoes. You can only wear those shoes in the game.
Well, I think he doesn't believe that Rocco can make the shot. Mm-hmm. So, he's like, I'm not going to pass to you, because you're not going to make the shot.
And that's one thing they didn't go into in the show. If they had shown a scene of Rocco, like, practicing on his own or in practice, making, shot after shot, or if they had showed him practicing at home, missing every shot, then we could say, okay, yeah, the kid's got some legitimacy.
Well, there was a very 2-second scene of where his father was watching Rocco, practice basketball on his own, and he takes a shot and he doesn't make it. But I mean, that was the only thing, really.
Really, they actually had only 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was only 2 seconds.
Because that needs like 15 seconds, and it needs to be repeated shots being missed.
Yeah, because I'm like, hey, anybody can miss like that, one.
Yeah, just one shot. But yeah, if they had like a 15-second scene of him missing like 10 shots, then it's like
oh, okay, he's not good at playing basketball.
He can't. Well, no, not necessarily that, but that he can't, get the ball in the basket.
Basket, yeah.
So if we had seen that, then that would make the other kid's comment more legitimate. and I think would give strength to the whole show in general.
Yeah. So anyway, what happens is the kid just walks off, and Rocco just runs after him and jumps on him from behind. And you don't really see, them fighting, but you can assume that, they just started fighting.
Yeah. This is cool. We should have done this for like Breaking Bad or something, like years ago when it was first airing.
Okay. Well, anyway, in the next scene, Harry is coming back to his office, and there's a dark-haired woman, in the office, and she talks about how she sold a car, and she kind of has like this seductive voice, and she's in the dark, and, it's kind of like he's going to his dark side, in a way. And he comes up to her, and they have a celebratory drink, and then they kiss, and, clearly something's going down. Do you remember that scene?
No.
Yeah, so he was, and I said, see, he's cheating on his wife. Harry.
Harry's cheating on his wife now?
Yeah.
What?
So after he
Don't
leaves,
you mean Hector?
No, I mean Harry.
I'm so confused. I didn't even know Harry was even married.
Yes, Harry's married. He has and I remember in the very beginning of the episode, he has a son, and he's a blonde-haired wife.
Oh, that's right. He intimidates his wife.
He had intimidated her, and she actually does the bookings for his company, and
so he's cheating on his wife too.
Yeah, so he's cheating on his wife. Well, I mean, you can't say that Hector is cheating because they're just flirtation. I mean, there was one kiss.
Okay, but what did Harry do?
You don't know. So Harry is kissing this other woman who's an employee at his office. And,
I don't remember that scene at all.
Yeah, but that was like, oh man.
What?
It's kind of, I don't know, it's like I liked him, and then I saw this, and it's just like, okay. I mean, I feel like they're just kind of painting him as an evil character, and I don't think that he's an evil character. I think, maybe that was just a poor decision.
Especially since he had all that long talk with Hector all about loyalty and commitment to family.
And being a good person.
Yeah. And then he's doing that. That seems way out of line for his character. Well, I don't know what the writers are thinking now.
I don't know if it's completely out of line, but
totally.
It does fit for, being a person who's in control, who's also a winner, and
why would someone be so in control and so possessive of their wife if they don't even freaking care about their marriage enough to cheat on them?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. That's like a contradictory. Either you're possessive and you are controlling your wife because you think she's yours and you don't want, only yours,
and you don't want to be with anyone else. And
yeah, exactly. Or you're the kind of guy who's passive, doesn't care about his marriage, and goes around and sleeps with women.
Other women.
I don't think you really see both of those attributes in the same person.
Well, I think it's possible.
I don't know.
But anyway, so clearly they're having sexual relations, and the camera pans off to where his cell phone is, and it's ringing, and it says home.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to